Now let me show you some clips from my main watercolour video on Patreon on how to paint a very detailed looking woodpecker. Let's get started. So you don't want this too thick because it is quite rich. So yellow ochre. And then we're going to go into this straight without even washing the brush out, straight into the burnt sienna. Okay, so yellow ochre, burnt sienna. Now you can just see on the photograph how much of the burnt sienna is on this side. Don't worry about any white areas because we'll be adding those in at the end of it anyway. We'll be using watercolour white for highlights later on. This is burnt sienna. Oh, that's rich. And this side as well. If the paper starts to dry, what you can do at this stage, you can kind of re-wet very lightly using that mop brush, just to kind of give you a bit more working time. Because it's quite warm underneath the big lights. I've got some very large lights here which I use for filming, and because of that, my paper does dry very quickly. Okay, so re-wet around there. Probably a little bit inside there as well. Okay, so this, if you remember, was the other one, which was the alizarin crimson and burnt umber. And we're going to add this in now, just over the woodwork itself, allowing it to blend. Ooh, that's rich. I'm going to leave that there. Just into that background. And you can very lightly with this brush or your mop brush, just soften down a little bit more. Just whilst it's wet. If it's starting to dry, leave it to dry, okay? And let it soak in a little bit, just on the inside of that eye. Can't see a pupil, it's just a blackened object, a blackened circle, that's all it is, but we want to try and show a bit of shape in there. Now I'm going to get a little bit of blue, so French ultramarine, I'll just put that into a palette, just a little bit. And a touch of alizarin crimson. Now that's going to be quite rich. Ooh, too much. A bit more blue. You want it more on the blue side than the purples, than the red side. But you got the idea. And you can lightly tap in where you think you need the white a little bit there. Let's get a bit more actually. A bit thicker. A little bit there. Now we can always tone this back if it's too much. Just a touch. And there. Okay. And then if you wanted to, you can add a little tiny bit. I'm just going to wash this off a minute because it's a bit too much on that brush. That's better. Just around the outside of the eye, just the eyelid itself, just by tapping, skipping in places. Don't make it too even. Don't add too much in there. Now this will dry a little bit paler because it's not quite as thick a white. And there we go. And I think that should be plenty. And then tickle that in, that dark colour, to that softened area. And I need to do the same again around here. So it's all about tweaking and fine-tuning as you go along, looking at the shapes that you can see. I can see here there's a bit of a curve going on. Move that paint around. Remember, you can mix the paint on the paper. Have a look at the colour. And I'm going to add a little bit more, I'm trying to think actually, a little bit more alizarin crimson within that. Just try one side for now and just see how that looks. And just a touch of the blacky brown we've got. So blacky blue, not blacky brown. So the lamp black and burnt umber. Just a little bit of that in there. I want to be able to create a slightly darker area. So lamp black, burnt umber into that red colour you've already got. Just into one side of it will do. So this will do initially for the inside of the darker areas. This is where you can start looking at the shape a bit more. Make sure you do this in the dry areas as well. Anything that's can nicely dry, that's better a lot. Again, thinking about this overall curve, as you can see here, but also the direction that these lines go in all the time. Bringing them down, keep them feathered out, and every now and then You see the section I've created here? I'm going to bring off just a few little lines, some random lines, just into the, well, just across the red. Not many though, I don't want to do too many. And there we go. So I mean, that's nearly one section there already. And this area here is not quite as defined an edge as this. They're more kind of broken up around there as well. So what you can do, if you want to have an even, like a tone in between for the red, you can add just a touch of this colour, a little bit more of this to the red we've already got mixed up, which is Scarlet Lake and the alizarin crimson. I had to think then. If it's too much, wipe it. And a few more around there now. Looking at where some of the gaps are and bringing it in. Okay, so working my way down. Now you can see I've added those dark accents in there now, as well as the posh British accent. Just down to the bottom. Just a few down there. There's not many down there, is there? And that is, I dare say, nearly it. So just a few more, I think. Don't overdo it because you'll end up covering everything else up. Then you end up having to use a lifting off technique, take some of the paint off again. That is it. So this will also help you if you've got any sharp edges you want to define, like there. Let's put a little sharp edge there. We can do. Because with wood as well, this particular type of bark is that it's not complete around, and the edges are very broken in places. There's no real straight edges or rounded edges, are there? So I'll add a little bit more now to this one here. Again, don't go mad with it. Less is best, remember, as I always tend to say that on a regular basis. Just a few little dots here and there just to add these highlights. So we can always add more later if we want it. And that is 3 areas nearly already done. As simple and as quick as that. Just add that extra kind of sparkle within the wood. So the same thing applies again. I'm going to carry on. Now you know what you got to do. Don't go mad, remember. Less is best, remember that. And just add a few little marks here and there. Like so. And that is a bit of a goldy colour. If I just tilt my palette, you can just see that there. It's just a bit of a goldy colour. And again, this is a bit thicker. Start to look at all the details in there. You have to go a little bit darker than that anyways. You're going to have to use the same dark we've been using, which is a blacky red. Now if you wanted that to be the same kind of colours as the photograph, what you're probably going to have to use is lemon yellow with probably phthalo blue as one option. So you could use that as a mixture instead of using the olive green. I quite like the bright colour of olive green, because it does vary anyway on the trees, the way the moss grows and the colours of the moss. So it doesn't really matter. But so you can, if you want to get the same colour, I'd say you could use those if you want to. But in this case, I quite like using this colour. I like it to stand out a little bit more. Otherwise, it can just kind of set back too much. Okay. The only thing you need to do is just give it a quick signature down the bottom, which I do off camera. Exactly the same procedure. I do it every time, so no point showing you that one again. But give us some ideas what to do. And I'll probably just sign it down the side here, actually, at the slight slope. And remember to leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know how you are getting on with this project. So until next time around, one last thing. Remember to keep them brushes wet. And I'll see you all again very soon. Now the full real-time video of this woodpecker tutorial is now available on my online school. So if you feel this is something just for you, come and join us on Patreon and get those brushes wet. Right, I'll see you there.